Hello, welcome to our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. Take two. Sometimes these things don't come out the way you expect them to come out. Doing media is not easy work. Facing a lot of people with a real true story is not easy. You have to cut through all the garbage. But you are the most intelligent audience in the world and know that I tell the truth. There's no reason for me to lie to get hits. I'm going to get 5,000 hits no matter what I do. So I tell the truth. There's nothing else behind that. America's in trouble. And today the farmers, I guess U.S. farmers are in the worst economic conditions since the Depression. I know it from our advertiser, this is very important for your pocketbook. Silver, ever since we did our show on hypothecation and rehypothecation, everybody realizes the Babylonian debt slavery system that we're in is flawed. And since we got computers, we've been lying about how much money there is. In fact, J.P. Morgan 2 years ago said they controlled $200,000 trillion worth of assets. 200,000 trillion while you're trying to make $30 or $40 or $50 an hour. This is in short supply, very short supply. Such short supply they had to literally take a plane load of silver to London just to show that the London silver market has some silver in it. It's in an emergency state. India's stopped the trading of exchangeable trade funds, anything to do with silver and gold. All metals now are skyrocketing. So I call Noble Gold 877-646-5347 and I buy more silver and I buy more gold when I get a chance. I love to buy the platinum, but platinum's skyrocketing too. And it's all skyrocketing due to economic conditions. I like to buy real gold. I don't like to buy fake gold because there's a lot of fake gold out there, and I know Noble Gold has real gold and real silver, real platinum, real palladium. Beyond that, I don't know very many other metals, but I know copper's going up, so the giant mining company is going, oh yeah, it's time to start drilling. Anyway, U.S. farmers are facing the worst economic downturn in at least 50 years. This is a Zero Hedge article, and it's a very good article. Just locally here in Tacoma, we can't have more than 6 chickens. Well, they say 5, I say 6. We can't plant our front yard with potatoes and sell them because that would make us an agricultural company and we'd be sued and they'd steal our home from us. And I'm tired. Well, I don't know what they do with me because as an ambassador, when I go to court, the judge is killed. So I might be able to get away with something, but I wouldn't want to test it because I don't want to kill any judges or lawyers. And that's what they told me in a dinner or in a lunch one day. 2 federal judges and a U.S. attorney said, now that you're an ambassador, you go to court, we're dead. So, but I don't like to push that. But in Washington, they're skyrocketing property taxes, telling you what you can and can't do, like here. I can't. But if food gets short enough, I'm turning that front yard into a potato garden for the neighborhood. I'll just give it away. That I can do. Our nonprofit can give away potatoes. There's no rules against the nonprofit giving away potatoes. If I owned my house, if I owned the property, I would put the property in a, listen closely, farmers, because this is exactly what Big Ag does. Exactly what BlackRock owned stuff does. They put their land in a nonprofit. And then they have the agricultural business separate. So if the agricultural business fails, they still keep their land because it's in a nonprofit. So you create the Positive Pickle nonprofit. That's from Inusit. You create the Positive Pickle nonprofit or Positive Pickles nonprofit. You have to do some research on names. And then you put your land in the Positive Pickles nonprofit. You put your house in the Positive Pickles nonprofit. So here's your house and land in one corporation. And here's your farming industry in another corporation. It'll save you enormous amounts of property taxes. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty means you own the land on which you stand, and that land belongs to you. There was a Supreme Court case that just went through that said if you're of the bloodline of anyone who signed the Constitution, you shouldn't be paying property taxes. But I don't know much about that. You'll have to do the research on that. And I'm not going to research it because some things I'll fight and some things I won't. And if we have a president that won't support the Constitution of the United States, what can I say? And if we've got a FBI director, Kash Patel, that won't support his own oath, then what can I say? He doesn't even support what he says. Obviously, when I said, watch out for Air Force One, and it went down with the president and Melania in it, there should have been 100 FBI agents out my front door asking me how I knew. Not one even bothered to ring me up and say, how did you know? When I say the bolts are loose here underneath in the landing gear on Air Force One, which they are, just a little loose, I still see kind of a crack in the left landing gear, but that's up to you to find out. You've got the x-ray machines. Probably lasts a lot longer. That whole plane is falling apart. Both of them, Air Force One and Air Force Two, 0001. I think it's 28 and 29, the wing numbers. But anyway, a farmer needs a piece of land free of taxes. He needs to be able to farm it, take the seed, some of the seed, store it, and then put the seed back on his land to grow again. He needs to be able to decide whether to rotate crops. I'm going to plant corn this year, wheat next year, barley the next year, peas the next year, alfalfa the next year to replenish the soil, and so on, and then I'll harvest the alfalfa for horses. But he doesn't have that option. And he needs to be able to sell his crop at a fair price. I remember doing research in 1977 at Diablo Valley Junior College. Wheat prices were $3.50 to $4 a bushel. Today, they're $5 a bushel. U.S. Department of Agriculture agreed to keep the commodity prices up with inflation. They lied, like every other government agency. They lie. So farmers went into debt based on a letter from the Department of Agriculture, and they lied and they took it to court, and the judge laughed them out of court. Ah, ha, 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 ha. You've been lied to by another government agency. Eat my shorts. So what's happening is the seeds are all controlled by one company, or three companies owned by BlackRock now. We showed you how they did that. They took a silver and they put out something, Hypotheca, and then they put out more money and more money and more money. Pretty soon they bought everything in sight based on this, but then this is gone. We have a silver shortage. But all this money is still theirs, and nobody in our federal government has the guts to go into New York City and contain a man who takes illegal campaign contributions, who's going to be mayor, who plans to shut New York City down. Not one man. Not one man in the FBI has the guts to go in and arrest him. Not one man out of 30,000 agents. Not one man will obey his oath of office. Not even one man in the FBI will obey his oath of office. Instead, they censor, lie, cheat, steal, and murder. Just like the 274 agents that went in January 6th that murdered people. Killed people. There's no prosecution of those 274 agents. Anyway, so in Idaho, they've taken all the water rights away along the Salmon River so we can mine cobalt. We've had a farm there for 100 and, I don't know, since 1880. So we've had one there for 145 years, and the government comes in and says, you can't use your water. You say, I have my own water rights. It says right here, I have water rights. And they say, tough luck, I'm seizing it. You run the water, we arrest you. You say that's illegal, they say, read between the lines, eat my shorts. We're going to make more nukes. You can't use your own water. It's happening. The government. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The worst 9 words in the English language. The smaller the government gets, the better. But we need somebody with guts to break up these monopolies. So the railroad tracks are owned by George Soros, who's dead, has been dead for over a decade. His son Alex Soros with Huma Abedin, a twisted freak. They own the railroad tracks, so the railroads run on those railroad tracks. And they don't maintain those tracks. So transportation costs are going up because the railroads are all owned by BlackRock. And they're jacking the price of transportation of the grain up. And Arthur Daniel Midland sets how much owned by BlackRock, sets the CIA, Larry Fink, a Jew. Well, he's not really a Jew. He's not Jewish. I don't know what he is, but he's a weird guy. Just a weird guy. And Kamala Harris's husband owns more BlackRock investment money than anybody in the world. She's one of the richest women in the world, but she won't pay the DNC. She's a greedy little SOB. And all of her people who quit said the same thing. So in the meantime, the machinery companies, Case Tractor, the green one, I forget. Anyway, they're all owned by one company, BlackRock, and they've skyrocketed their prices. You know, and they've changed it. They've computerized it all. If we got rid of computers in cars, we wouldn't need these rare earth metals. But instead, we went from the Plymouth Valiant at 39 miles to the gallon to the little Acura, which gets 20 miles to the gallon. So we've gone from 39 to 20 miles to the gallon because of computers. And the profitability of American companies is going down. So the head of Nebraska Farmers Union said we're in the middle of the worst economic downturn I've seen in my 50 years. This is the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. NASA is destroying the Southwest. They take the High Area Aurora Resolution Program in Alaska, boil the ocean, creates an El Nino, which completely dries out the entire Southwest, kills cattle, creates microstorms, and kills Americans. And the High Area Aurora Resolution Program is run by the University of Alaska, which is run by HGSAT, the U.S. Department of War, killing more Americans through the use of HAARP. It gets better. He can't even retire 50,000 garden reserves. But anyway, farmers are not crying wolf. The wolf is right here outside the door. They need water. They need land. They need seed. They need machinery to harvest it with. And they need a price to sell. Many farmers are losing $100 an acre. If they put their land in a nonprofit and have an agricultural business, they wouldn't lose the money. So we have crippling commodity prices. We have extremely high, you buy a Case Tractor, you drive it in the field, left light goes out, the thing shuts down, you have to call a technician in to replace the light bulb and reset the computer. That's beyond insanity. Why doesn't the president outlaw computer use in cars? I don't know. That's a good question. Graves, the chairman of the Arkansas Rice Growers Association, says the coming disaster, in a nutshell, we're going to over a cliff. Banks are foreclosing for farm bankruptcies at 25 to 40%. And the dirty secret is out. Everybody knows it. The giant monopolies have squeezed our farms to the point, which means your prices on commodities are about to go through the roof. You can't even grow a potato in your front yard and set up a stand in your front yard and sell it without, well, you can't do it in the city I'm in. Highest crime rate in the world, but I don't see any troops on the streets. So the structural issues will still exist, but perhaps they're going to give some kind of aid. Everything's falling off a cliff, even our agriculture, which means, but not Amos Miller and Simply Clean Foods. They still have inexpensive food, which means you go to the grocery store, you're going to spend more money on food. Because this monopolization of America has finally hit the farmers so hard. The Audubon Society said we're going after the fisheries. First we're going after forestry, which they shut down. Then we're going after the fisheries. They did a pretty good job at shutting it down. Then we're going after the farmers, and that's what they're doing right now. First the cattle ranchers, then the farmers. And that's what they've done. The Audubon Society outlined this all in 1980. I read their magazine. Who are they going to sue out of business next? So there you have it. We're having an absolute agricultural problem, and food prices are about to go through the roof. There isn't one man in our government who's willing to stop it. Maybe Trump will. We'll find out. God bless. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, maybe. We'll find out how this foot surgery goes. For sure, we're off next Thursday and Friday. We'll see you tomorrow.